Dear students, welcome to our channel. Today we'll be studying about 6 pillars of India's foreign policy. These 6 pillars, once you understand, you will be able to correlate India's foreign policy in contemporary period. This is all about the contemporary foreign policy of India. The first pillar is strategic autonomy. This is very much essential in contemporary India's foreign policy. As, for example, you would have seen in India's continuing its import of oil from Russia even after getting sanctions. Russia got sanctions, economic sanctions by Western world led by US. So that is called strategic autonomy, which means you have independent stance on global conflicts. You do not get attached to any military alliance or bloc. The thing is, this is continuity of India's foreign policy of non-alignment, but in its modern form. That is not the older version of non-alignment. Here we have multi-alignment. We get aligned with all the power blocks of the world today, be it US, be it Russia, be it China. We have relation with every country based on our independent sovereign foreign policy. So this is the pillar 1, which is very important. Strategic autonomy is the most important key pillar of India's foreign policy. Second pillar you can see is the multi-alignment that I was saying, because it is emerging from the first pillar itself. All the pillars that you will see today, it is emerging from the first pillar, that is strategic autonomy. So what is the second pillar? That multiple alignment, which means pragmatic engagement with all the major powers of the world. Pragmatic engagement with all the major powers of the world. For example, with US we have technology, we have partnership in technology, defense. We also cooperate in Quad in Indo-Pacific region. So we have alignment with Russia as well, where we import 36% of our defense supply from, we get 36% of our defense supply from Russia. We have energy cooperation. We are also cooperating in North-South transport corridor with Russia. If we talk about France, which is another European power, there also we are cooperating in defense, space cooperation and defense. Similarly, in Gulf countries, we have cooperation in the area of energies for energy security, our diaspora and connectivity projects in Gulf countries. Then you talk about Africa and Latin Americas. We are exploring the markets of these continents, and Global South Partnership, India is a leading voice of South-South cooperation. So what is the purpose of multi-alignment? Multiple alignment means maximize gains without choosing one side, which means we will have issue-based partnership rather than partnership based on polarity. If we have our issues are getting solved, if our problem is getting solved, we will definitely go with the partnership. We'll have multiple alignment. If you see India's partnership or India's party to any grouping like BRICS and Quad, even SCO, in Quad, India is with US because in Asia Pacific region, our interest, we have shared interest. Similarly, in SCO, we can see that SCO and Quad are completely diagonally opposite to each other, because one is in Quad we have US, in SCO we have China and Russia and US are rivals. Even US-led Western Bloc have put sanctions on Iran and Russia, and India is cooperating with Russia and Iran in SCO as well as in BRICS Plus now. There also India is cooperating. So multi-alignment is the norm. From non-alignment to multi-alignment, this is the trajectory of India's foreign policy, you can say, after the independence till date. The third most important pillar is neighborhood first policy. There you can see that extended neighborhood also is covered under Act East or Look West policy. These are regional priorities India is having, not only neighborhood, but extended neighborhood in our East and West. Why this is very much required? For political stability in the region, for development of the entire northeast region, especially when we look at Act East or neighborhood first policy, we have focus on our own development. Stability in the region, connectivity projects, developmental projects, these are the most important thing that we want. Stabilization in Nepal, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. Those crises you can see in Nepal and Bangladesh. In developmental projects, we are extending lines of credit connectivity projects. We are cooperating with Bangladesh, Myanmar, Thailand. And the most important and significant factor is Chinese factor. We are countering Chinese influence, especially their BRI project, Belt and Road Initiative. And we want to ensure that Chinese influence is minimized in this, our neighborhood region. Similarly, in Act East policy, we have ties with ASEAN, Indonesia, and Vietnam, where there we are cooperating in trade as well as in maritime cooperation in South China Sea. Look West policy, if you see Look West policy, we have strong relationship with UAE, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Israel, all the important countries of the West Asia. We are also cooperating in the field of energy security, diaspora safety, and new economic corridors that we are talking about. Next pillar, if we talk, the fourth pillar is economic diplomacy. Economic diplomacy means aligning our foreign policy in such a manner that it leads to India's economic growth and development. Trade agreement and market accesses, that you can see that we are signing FTAs with UAE, Australia, EU negotiation. Recently, we have signed FTA with New Zealand. These are all part of economic diplomacy, which means we are diversifying our supply chain away from China. We have not to be dependent on Chinese manufacturing. We need to diversify our relations with other countries so that we are not solely dependent on China. Technology partnership, especially focusing away from China, is semiconductors, AI, clean energy. There we are looking towards EU, US, and other countries. And Make in India project that you are aware of. For that, we need foreign direct investment, attracting foreign investment. That is part of economic diplomacy. We all want that our country becomes developed by 2047. For that, we need foreign direct investment. We need lots of investment in infrastructure, lots of investment in manufacturing capability. For that, our foreign policy needs to be aligned to pursue the goal of becoming developed country. The fifth pillar is security, defense, and diplomacy. There you need to protect your sovereignty, your territorial integrity, so that India as a country stands. This is the hard power component of India's foreign policy. Hard power means military power. There we talk about maritime security in Indo-Pacific region, building defense capabilities like you can see Rafale, Tejas, submarines that we are having deal with other countries, defense export that we are doing to Vietnam, Philippines, and African countries, especially Russian missiles and technology. Counter-terrorism cooperation, we are cooperating with USA, Israel, and France for counter-terrorism. We have joint military exercises like Gadura, Malabar, Yuddh Abhyas with different countries. Why it is necessary? It is necessary because of Chinese challenge in the region. China challenge, border threats we have with Pakistan, now with Bangladesh, Myanmar, and especially in Indian Ocean and Indo-Pacific region, we need to secure the sea lines of communication so that our trade from shipping route is secure. Our energy security is totally dependent on sea routes of communication, and we need to especially focus on our maritime security for that reason. And partnership like Quad that you can see, that is focusing on Indo-Pacific region. The last and sixth pillar is your soft power. Hard power is, again, after hard power, we are talking about soft power. There we are talking about global leadership, how India can become a global leadership, India's civilizational and moral influence. We talk in soft power. There are several components under soft power diplomacy where you can, with example, you can understand like yoga diplomacy, Ayurveda, Indian diaspora across the world. India is leading power in the global south where India is cooperating South-South cooperation. India also talks about United Nations Security Council reform, where India wants to be part of part of the reform agenda and want to expand the United Nations Security Council and become a member of UNSC. Therefore, India wants to democratize the global governance institutions like IMF, World Bank, United Nations, and for that South-South cooperation, India's soft power is essential to get support from the southern hemisphere. Next component you can see under soft power is humanitarian assistance, like Operation Dost, Operation Kaveri, vaccine diplomacy during COVID-19. And last thing you can talk in soft power is our digital public goods, where India can contribute like UPI platform. It can provide an alternative payment system to the world, where BRICS was talking about BRICS Plus now. It was talking about de-dollarization, and alternate payment network UPI can be a global public good provided by India. Similarly, like CoWIN software that India developed, like digital certificates that you were showing, India can use that those softwares for global purposes. Soft power is essential for India's position as a responsible and value-driven global power. To become so India should become a value-driven global power. For that, soft power diplomacy is very, very essential component of India's foreign policy. Now, how these pillars interact? It is not that they are working in separate compartment, all these 6 pillars. They interact with each other. Now you can see that strategic autonomy is the core, and from that core, there are several other things that flows. You can see like why multi-alignment? For power balancing. You have to balance the power. We will cooperate with US as well as Russia as well as China, so that there is a balance in the global power structure. Like BRICS was formed so that we can counter the hegemony of US and Western global institutions like IMF, World Bank, and it aims to democratize and restructure, reform those institutions based on democratic norms. So multi-alignment is for power balancing. Regional priorities, where we will talk about neighborhood first and extended neighborhood. We need stability in our neighborhood so that peace is ensured. Peace, prosperity, and stability is very much essential for India's rise. If India's neighborhood will be stable, India's rise will be easier. So regional priorities. Third is economic diplomacy, which means growth-oriented foreign policy. Security diplomacy, hard power, reassurance that you secure your borders, you have defense capabilities, you have all 3 military powers are capable enough to secure and protect your sovereignty. Soft power and leadership, India as a voice of global south. These all are interlinked. These all interact among each other, and then only our foreign policy is we can say that strategic autonomy can be ensured if all these 6 pillars function in a proper manner. So here is your summary of today's class, where you can see that strategic autonomy is the core of all the 6 pillars that we have talked about, and remaining pillars you can say that neighborhood first policy, where you want regional priorities you are fixing, security and defense, soft power and leadership, soft power, hard power, economic diplomacy, multi-alignment. These all are the 6 pillars of India's foreign policy in contemporary India's foreign policy that you can see. And that's all for today. We'll meet in the next class with next topic. Thank you. Thank you very much.